Okay, so this is a different type of podcast. Just explain who you are, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dominique Rivera, although everybody knows me as Oracle. I am the Oracle of Apollo reincarnated. Yes, I have my past life memories and have been woken up by the ancient Greek god. I am the founder of Howell Awareness Center here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and that stands for Healing Ourselves While Learning. We're a community holistic education center, and I am a Reiki master teacher, integrated energy therapy master instructor, oracle, and Pythia, and psychic medium. And that's why we're here today. Yay!
Okay, so I am a very spiritual person. I have a lot of energy and I have a lot of visions, and I am into like past life reincarnation, all of that type of stuff. So do you want me to ask specific questions, or do you want to do your bit with the cards first and see what comes to you? Like, how do we progress in this minute?
Well, we can, if you want to jump right into it, we can. So I'll go ahead and just let's see what happens. No
Okay, I'm
promises,
excited.
right? No expectations. Okay, I asked the angels guides to guide, direct, surround, and protect me and Oliver. May this reading be for his highest and individual's greatest, oh God, good, and highest and individual greatest healing. You're having issues in your stomach. That is the willpower center. That is our confidence center. That is our active center. That is our action center. Our fire center. Our solar plexus is everything that has to do with momentum forward. And there's a disconnect between you and your solar plexus. I am being given the card blessing today from Angel Sarah. She is blessing you with ease. Ease is the transitional period. So there's something inside of you, especially that is resonating in your stomach. And I say this because I can have a physical somatic sensation of a blockage within your opening of the allowing you to understand that you're going to be in a transitional period, and that's going to be done with ease. So what your soul is right now, it's this unrest, it's dis-ease right now, is going to be balancing out. So this is an angel blessing. I want you to know, as an integrated energy therapy master, I work with sacred geometry. So when I say this is an angel blessing, this is an expedited frequency that is being transmitted via me from the angelic realm to you, Oliver, that you will be receiving in your energetic frequency to assist you in the alleviation of this movement of this solar plexus block. For some of us, the solar plexus block also is like a higher block, which means maybe we're not manifesting the amount of money, or we're getting underpaid, or we're not seeing the full worth or value of what we have, or how to implement it into the world. But that's starting with that. So let me go ahead and open the frequency now for Apollo, and you think of your first question. And I'll let you know when you can ask the first question, okay?
Okay.
I ask Apollo, the sun god of illumination, to come to thy prophetess, thy oracle. From Delphi come to me, from Mount Parnassus fly. I'm ready for your first question. Let's go.
Okay, so my dream is to have my own talk show in America. I have planned to, for example, take over James Corden's Late Late Show because of the English trend. But I want a talk show. It could be Jimmy Fallon's talk show. I don't care what talk show it is, as long as I have my own talk show. Part of that journey in 3 years' time when I take over a talk show, which is when I think their contracts will come to an end and they won't end up renewing them, is that I created the podcast channel. So I'm in a one-to-one interview type of situation environment with strangers. I can create conversation. I show my personality, my knowledge, and this is the journey towards that stage. Now, I know that by
Before
doing
you continue, I understand, because I don't want you to jumble in multiple frequencies and questions at the same time, because you're giving me your interpretation frequency, but you're also asking me for a question. So with that being said, let me tell you right now, do you believe that you have the potential to do this? Because as you're expressing this right now inside of you, you have such a thick block in that solar plexus that within you, and that deep-seated belief, you don't believe that you have the capacity to reach that level. There's a block here. This has to be moved in order for you to attain that Vedic. This is a higher level block. And this is why I was expressing that earlier. This is like a ceiling. You've created a ceiling within yourself. And when we hit that ceiling, we don't push anything. We can't do anything else until we have that awareness and understanding of what this block is. So let me actually come down into this block. and find this connector and see why deep-seatedly inside of you, you don't believe this. Okay, I'm feeling a feminine presence for this. And you might even right now on the surface be like, okay, I do believe this, because everyone says, okay, I have self-worth, I have self-knowledge, but the reality is in there. It's in there. Like, there is no way getting around this. It's absolutely in there. There's a female energy that's coming in here, and this feels like this is what's blocking you. So this kind of feels like, okay, now I see it. I feel like I see the female presence, and I feel like trying to express myself, and then my shoulders and my head kind of slump down, and my head kind of goes down. So I feel like I'm being shut down. I feel like I'm being told no. I feel like I'm being told that's not interesting or valuable. So I keep it to myself. I'm shutting down, and I see that I see it. I see it within the body posture of this child. This child is probably around 9 to 11 years old, and you think you're funny. You think you're very damn hilarious. And it's kind of like just being shut down. Be quiet, be still, too much, excess. This is what I'm getting from this. Yes, this is what I'm getting for that. That's all I have for that question. What is your interpretation on this?
So what I'm picking up is that when I was younger, my parents always used to be like, just be normal, just no, like calm down. Everyone's always said this dream's too big. My parents laugh at me when I say I want to take over the talk show. I say, look, I'm going to have this talk show. Like, I'm actually going to be the next host of the Tonight Show, whatever. And they don't take me seriously, and they think it's a joke. And they say, what
They
planet are
do
you
think
on?
it's a joke.
They think, what
Yeah.
planet are you on? Like,
But that hurts
honestly,
you.
what goes on in your head?
Yeah, but I can feel deep-seated pain right in your heart space. I can feel the sadness of the unsupportedness there. I can feel the lingering of this unresolved situation. But it's still within you. I need that potential, irregardless of the belief system that was placed on you, irregardless of the paradigm that was instilled within your parents, because we are essentially our parents. They have this set of standards that they've been given down from their parents. And therefore, when we try to break away from those standards, we're being repressed, we're being shut down, we're being silenced. And that's what I feel like is happening for you. And it does hurt you deeply inside yourself. I can feel it in your heart space.
Yeah, of course you want your parents to approve and to encourage you, and I can obviously tell when they are fake supporting me. Like, I can tell that you're just saying it because you feel you have to, but you don't really believe it. And as I see it in my head, like it's going to happen, and they're like, oh, just another idea, another dream. It's just ridiculous. How could anyone say that they would take over the Tonight Show? But for me, it's a fucking real thing. Like, I'm on this journey, and I'm going to get there. So the initial question I was saying is, where do I go from this point onwards to get to the next step in terms of getting the Tonight
Thank
Show?
you. All right. So, in order for you to get through that or to that goal, you're going to have to break through this solar plexus barrier. This is going to be you standing up. I can see this clear visually. So, like in my clear vision, clearly. And what I'm seeing is you standing up, kind of like putting your foot down, and not in an excessive, forceful way. And I'm sorry that I'm looking away, but it's what keeps me concentrated. Not in an excessive or forceful way, but it feels like you really have to have that presence known. Like, you have to really declare it. But you also have to accept this pain that you have inside. Sit with it. Okay, I understand. Thank you, Spirit. They're asking me to tell you to work with shadow work, and specifically working in the solar plexus area. Yes, thank you. That way you can regain this power that you have that has been eluded to you for quite some time. I mean, quite some time, even to the point where so many boundaries have been crossed on your end. And I know that sounds very generic, but the visual representation that's being given to me, as symbolic as it may be, it's almost like I'm in the cafeteria in school. People are like flipping my tray. Like, people flip my tray, so they're taking advantage of me. I feel like I'm being bullied. I feel like I'm being made fun of. I feel like I'm being made less than. But this also feels like not just parents, this also feels like peers, people of my same status. So let's see. This shadow work is very important to you. And also, they're recommending something called parts work. Parts work, so that way you can discover exactly where in your body this is sitting, so this can be removed. This has to be removed. You have to heal this in order to get to that next step. Is that next step possible? Hell yeah, they're giving me a hell yeah. he is not wrong. Let's just be real. He is not wrong. My interpretation might be skewed sometimes, but he is not wrong. You definitely, Oliver, had the potential of that show being for you. However, you have to break that upper limit. That is like the most clear thing that's coming through me right now, is breaking that upper limit. And that's going to be done through self-reflection and healing, self-healing through shadow work, self-healing through parts work. That's what they're giving me for you for that.
So what actions do I have to take to cross that barrier? You're talking about the self-healing work, shadow work. What does that consist of?
Well, and I'm not a teacher for that. However, there is plenty of information online so that you can do shadow work. And I don't want to not waste our time, but I don't want to go into that now when we're in the middle of a reading, because we need to keep this energy connection open. And that is not going to be, that's not beneficial to what we're doing right now. However, I will give you more information on that later. We have the understanding of what we need to do. As far as the step-by-step, that's something that you're going to have to do on your own time, because you already know what you have to do, which is shadow work. That's a very specific thing. I'm not giving you a general thing. I'm giving you a very specific thing. That and parts work. Those are two special, specific healing modalities that you're going to have to look into for yourself. What is your next question?
I have found the one. I've never had a relationship, and I've always sort of waited and known there's the one person out there who is on the highest frequency like me, like the most matching frequency. I finally found her. How does she fit into my future and where I'm going on my own path?
You feel like you physically found her?
So, as in, I came into, I know, like,
are you in a relationship right now? Is what I'm asking you. Like in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship? Can we just be real? Because I feel like this is not. Come on, tell me.
so she's the one, but she's like me. We are free people to see who we want, but we also know that we want love and that connection and that relationship type of relationship without names and labels. So we don't believe in marriage. We don't
Okay,
believe in.
but fantastic. But are you in a relationship with her? You could be polyamorous, but are you in a physical relationship with this person? Because I need to know that, because it doesn't feel that way. And what I'm feeling right now is a huge, you're saying that she's of the highest frequency, but what I'm feeling right now is a disconnect between the mental realms of both of you, because I'm feeling tethers, I'm feeling codependency, and I'm also feeling illusion based around this. I'm also feeling old time karmic debt that has to be repaid, that's also connected within the temple areas, connected to both of you. So I repeat myself, are you in a physical relationship with her?
No.
Okay, thank you. So the reason for this is because of these obstacles that are based in the way. Those obstacles that are based in the way, again, are in the mental realm. And what I mean by fabricated due to old systematic beliefs, spirit, due to low self-worth beliefs of not being able to have everything when I think I should have everything, but not truly believing that I should have everything. This is a constant theme for you, friend. And I'm feeling that in the form of migraines, temple pain, eye strain, headaches. And this is all this connection, this higher frequency connection that's trying to be force manifested. And I know you're saying this is a higher frequency, but there's still a lot of negative around this. So this is not of the highest, most potential frequency. I would tell you that right now. From 1 to 10, I would say this is maybe like a 6.2. That's what I do be done. The work does have to be on both your parts, specifically her part though, however, because I see this how I'm visually giving the symbolism behind this is a double dutch. Do you know what double dutch is? It's like 2 jump ropes at a time, and then her foot is in, out, in, out, in, out. Am I there? Am I not? Am I in? Am I not? Am I in? Am I here? That is not stable. It doesn't feel like it's grounded energy. This feels like fire and air, just chaos and vortex. This feels more like a twin flame than it feels like a soulmate connection. Flame connection is the energy connection when we have when someone has to teach us a karmic pattern. They could be from the past life. They could be a destiny point. They could be just here to give you something specific. But this does not feel, and I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but this does not feel like quote unquote the one, only one soulmate initial connection. This is a twin flame connection. Thank you, spirit. And what I'm feeling for this is that the energy is actually moving as we discuss this, because new awareness has been having to come into this to enable to heal that. And how that feels like to me is that I have, again, somatic sensation. That means I have a physical feeling, and this tension, pain, pressure situation is being cleared and up and out. However, hold on. I see three pathways. I see three pathways. One, two, three. Okay, you actually have three soulmates for this lifetime. So although you think you have one and have put that in a box, you actually have three soulmates, and you have three soulmates in this lifetime in your main destiny points. One of them won't be able to have kids. One of them will be able to have kids, a son and a daughter. And then the third one's just open. I just feel like it's just open everywhere. It's just go where you want. But you do have potential partners, soulmate partnerships that are destined for your life, this life. And this it might be a twin flame one. Oh, there's I kind of want to know why you believe this is such a light connection or a high vibratory connection, because in my gut, in my physical gut, in my human body, in my seed of my psychic ability, this is telling me this is a low frequency connection, that this is a non-favorable connection, communication. And I know that it's not something that sounds pleasant, or that you would say that you believe because maybe you got it from yourself, higher self, or maybe you got it from someone else. But whatever you feel like doesn't resonate with you, you can just chuck it under the bridge and let it keep moving. But I'm telling you, this feeling does not lie. I am feeling it in my solar plexus, and it's still way too low. Let's see if there's a potentiality for this to heighten. She has a lot of family issues. She has a lot of family issues, especially with the dad. A lot of if she can resolve these issues, this karmic clearing will be done, and those roads could open for you, and then you guys could be together. Oh, you guys could be together in the appropriate frequency partnership. But there's too much jamming the gears. There's too much clutter. There's too much dense frequency in this connection for this to happen at this moment. That's what I have for that. You can shoot me if you want, though.
What is she doing about this issue, and does she know this issue is within her?
Let's see. No, not quite. It's almost like it's almost sour. It's like too tainted to go revisit, too tainted to want to retry. So superficially in the past, and I say superficially because it's like, okay, I'm just gonna pretend like this is in the past, so I'm done with this. But really, it's just been suppressed. This has just been suppressed, and I still get that real thick, queasy, unfavorable feeling in my stomach. She has karmic points to still hit, and I feel like there's a form of addiction in her timeline. There's a form of addiction in that timeline. This could be codependency. This could be narcotic. This could be drinking. This could be low self-worth. This could even be cutting. But I feel like there's a very low frequency that kind of just hovers around her, and is still there. And she's going to have to wake up and figure that part out for herself. And she's going to have to want to shift that frequency to make that happen. So somebody can't open her eyes for her. You know what? I'm doing her. Somebody can't open her eyes. There's energy coming in. And the sounds that I'm making are quantum shifts. That's because my body acts as a filter, because I'm reading the frequency within the body and above the body. All right, one fell out. Let's see what she has. She has freedom. What did I say? Addiction. There's a type of vice or limiting self-belief that is holding her within chains, that is really just tying her down. It's very dense. It's very dense. When we don't have freedom, we believe we can't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it looks like to the perspective of someone else. You could be beautiful, you could be wealthy, but you could also be in your own prison, in your own mind. And I just want to show this card. So Angel Faith is blessing her with freedom. So she does have the ability to get there, but she needs to be able to want to do it herself. She has to ask.
So what's this about her dad then? That so
Masculine energy.
you said about
Yes.
her dad.
Let's see. Oh. When they're showing me her, they give me things and symbolism to paint a picture, right? So the perception that I'm getting of her is like a punk, like a goth, like a emo person dressed like that, like an alternative dress style. And I feel like the reason for that is to protect, is the shielding. It is the shielding. It is so that way we can. Hold on, you have a card that fell out. It's to make us stronger, our appearance to hide our vulnerability. Angel Daniel's blessing her with kindness. Let's see about the dad. It's almost like I'm looking at her and then I'm seeing an empty space where he's at. I'm seeing empty space where he's at. So maybe he wasn't emotionally available or physically available or understood her. We have the knowledge card here. So it's kind of like it's just like there is a impasse. There's a disconnect, a miscommunication. She's also being blessed with ease, and she holds that within herself. She does hold that within herself. I don't know if she's blaming herself for this impasse or disconnect with her dad. Let's see. Is she blaming herself, spirit, for this miscommunication or oh, Apollo? Whoa, so much energy just came in. I see her purging and detoxing. As far as her dad goes, they're not giving me anything else other than that because this is third party information now. And I don't typically read third, fourth, fifth party because I'm reading you. So we're reading you and your extension. So that's her business. We can't get into her business. They're not letting me, but she does have that disconnect with her dad. They're not letting me go any further than that again because it's not our business. But that's something that she's gonna have to work through, that disconnect in some way. It just feels like I'm seeing a blank space there when I see him with her. There is no man there. He's just gone. I just feel like empty space.
Do I have any unresolved karma with my past growing up, or have I dealt with it all like I believe I have?
Well, you definitely haven't because this is the solar plexus issue that we opened up with in the beginning. So let's see if there's anything more important or as important as that. Because that's the thing here. You're trying to move forward, but you can't do it with that big brick wall there. So let's see. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? It just feels like that stature. It just feels like back to there. That's the most important thing you're triggered that needs to be triggered right now is getting your stature back. Coming from that being a small place because you have so much passion and vitality. But inside you, it's like you're still still feels like you're that teenage boy, or still feels like you're that person who allows too many boundaries. Because what I'm being visually shown again is that lunchroom scene with the tray and someone smacking the tray out of your hand. I'm still being shown that person, that karmic energy, that unhealed shadow self, that inner child that needs to still be worked through. That definitely still needs to be worked through in order for you to get your proper stature because you're kingly. I can see you right now. You're very kingly. And by that I mean like graceful, tactful, passionate, and you oversee. It's like you want to help others. And I'm not just saying that, okay, because you're in a podcast, because you could be a podcast and have a whole different, totally different agenda. Um, but I feel like that a leadership quality is definitely a king, and it's showing you as king of wine, not king of wines, king of swords. So that's someone who's very intelligent, who has very good use with their words, and they can cut sharply with their words as well. But right now you're not there. You're still at a page. You're only in your page mode. So you're in your journey mode. You're in your adventure mode. You still have to be a knight, and you still have to become your king. So you're getting there, but you're not quite there yet.
How was the opportunity for the talk show going to approach me? Will I meet a producer? Will I meet a director in person? Will somebody see this online and contact me? Will I be with friends eating dinner and come across that person? How am I going to get that contact connection for the show and the writers and the producers and that?
Okay, I understand that. Now, I want to say when we ask questions like this, it's kind of asking what colors our soulmates hair, and then we start looking for, like, I say redhead, we all look for redhead, and then we shut down all the brunettes and all the blondes, and she could have been a redhead because she could have dyed her hair. So let's see if hypothetically you were to take the time to do the healing and elevate your frequency and do the work, let's see what the potential outcome of that would be, because those things would definitely, not possibly, definitely have to take place in order for you to remove this block to get to that power. If you were to do those steps, what do you think, Apollo, would happen for Oliver? This would happen around the holiday, around Thanksgiving. It will happen around holiday, around Thanksgiving. And it's funny because it's like you don't want to wait for Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know if you actually have Thanksgiving dinner, but it feels like you're eating cereal on this Thanksgiving dinner, like Fruit Loops or something. I just see cereal in a bowl, which is kind of funny because I see you at the head of a table, at the head of the table, so the end of the table, eating cereal, and it feels like around Thanksgiving. That's what that feels like to me. So that's the visual imprint they're giving me. You will be eating cereal when this is communicated to you. So around a November time frame, holiday time frame. That's what I have for that. If you do the work, which is the key component here, the operative word. And you have an inspiration card that falls out for you, angel blessing card. Angel Ariel's blessing with you with inspiration, which is definitely the what you want to hear with something like that, because inspiration is divinely guided synchronicities bringing awareness, and that aha is telling you exactly what you need to be. Is the feeling of inspired, that way you take action based on what you're feeling is the correct thing to do, and that's going to lead you forward. So that's very important as well, staying in that intuitive space and listening to the higher guidance.
Will I be moving, traveling, living somewhere else in the next 6 months?
Moving, traveling somewhere else next 6 months.
Oh,
Okay, I see you trying to manifest this move, but what I'm being shown right now is again symbolism. This is so that I can interpret what is being shown to me. What I'm seeing is kind of like a canal, a very thin canal, specifically the Italian canal, and that's what I'm being shown. And then inside the water is actually dark black, and it looks like sludge. And the person sitting in the little canoe in the canal with the stick is pushing the boat through this very thick, dark black sludge. This is like slow molasses. This movement forward is so very slow. It's very thick. And when we talk about water in our readings, water represents all of our emotional states. It represents the way we flow in and out of life, the ebb and flow of life, right? So this is not clear yet. It's not clear. You're trying to make movement forward, but it's sticky. It's slowing you down. And there's still unresolved emotional things that have to be done in order to manifest this. You have to be vibrating at the correct frequency of what you're trying to manifest. And a lot of times we have to acknowledge the inner child. And the inner child here is what's stopping your momentum from going forward. So I feel like everything is kind of coming back to this inner child work for you right now.
this inner child thing.
Mm.
How do I address it? Like, what is it? Like,
Okay. So your inner child, basically from the hold on, where are we at right now? It's okay. Let's do Oliver. Before we get into that, let's do one more question because I feel the energy peaking, and then I'm gonna explain about the inner child and everything else. How about that?
okie dokie.
Okay.
Is the path to the talk show absolutely guaranteed if I fix the childhood issue, which is preventing me from getting there? I know I have to have the skill, but it's more than just skill. Have I got what it takes to get there if I fix this crucial issue?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Oh my God. This is the way this is being shown to me, man. This is what I'm being shown. So I'm seeing you. Oh, you are a damn fighter, aren't you? I am seeing you like beaten to hell. I'm telling you, this path that you've chosen has not been the most easiest path. You've really chosen one. I see you kind of crawling upstairs to like a second floor stair, and you're crawling up the stairs and you're holding your heart, and then your heart hurts so bad, but you're still pulling yourself up. And then you get to the top and you look down and you're there. You've made it, you've completed, you've done all the steps that you needed to do arduously, painfully, but you still saw that top. You still were able to get to the top and get there. And I see you standing there, but you're going to go through a lot to get there. But I see it. I can see you physically standing there, completed, having it, successful, beaten, but successful. Yes, I absolutely do believe that for you, Oliver.
Damn right.
All right, let's close this connection because I'm sweating bullets. Angels, guides, ascended masters, thank you. Please allow Oliver to go on his path in the best way possible. Allow him to have all the illumination, all of the strength. Please send him all of the people, circumstances his way that he needs to evolve, and allow him to see that his lessons are the inspirational blessings that you're bringing on his path. This or something even greater. Please close and disconnect all vortexes, connections, tethers that I've created during this. Ooh, that's heavy. That hurts. Ooh, thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, now that that's closed and I'm completely drenched in sweat, let's talk about this inner child work and shadow work and all those other things. Okay, so from the ages of 0 to 6, we don't have a filter. And what I mean by that is our subconscious mind is pulling in everything. At the age of 6, we then our body has created a new filter, and then we start to piece things together: good, bad, hot, cold, up, down. We start to piece everything together, and then we can build from that foundation. But from the ages of 6 back is when we have the most trauma in our lives. And when we say trauma, or when I say trauma, for a lot of people, we think that a car accident or something very shocking is a trauma. But being told you're not good enough, or being told to shut up enough, or being told to sit quietly enough is a trauma. It is a trauma because you're being told something so many times on repeat that the person starts to believe it. And then you start to say it and repeat it. And guess what? Then that digs a deep seated belief within you that it's actually factual. And then when someone jokes about it, or when you're older and all of these other circumstances come around, it starts to continue to trigger those old traumas. So we get complacent, or we make excuses, or whatever the case is. But the fact is that we continue to get triggered on something based off of our childhood, and it doesn't allow us to propel ourselves forward. So what we have to do is go to that inner child. And this is for anybody who's watching. They can actually physically do these steps on their own. However, I would limit it to 2 triggers. And what a trigger is when is the last time? So Oliver, let's do this real quick. When is the last time you felt triggered by somebody? It could have been a word or an action, just anything at all that made you come out of your joy. You don't have to give me a story, but you can give me a feeling if you want to keep the story private.
Without really thinking about that question specifically, what comes to mind is just when someone says, I can't do something, or a no, or when I tell my parents, like, I'm going to plan to do this. And I know that together they have said that they're just going to agree to me, because every time they say no, they can't, they get a lesson from me, a lecture, and I start to just dominate and be like, tell me why I can't. So now they've just like come together and just say yes to keep him happy, but I can read through it. I know that they're just saying it to shut me up, even though they don't believe that.
So when is the last time, this is the step, when is the last time this happened?
Oh, just like a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So now I want you to sit with that. That was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Now, we're going to go further back. That was the last time it happened. Now I want you to think, and you might have to close your eyes for this one, but you have to think about when the first time this happened is. So just give yourself a moment, because you're going to be thinking far back. You found the last time. I want you to look inside of you. When is the first time you can recall being told this and this imprint being placed on you?
Could be like,
what age are you think?
Like 13, 14, 15, 16, that age.
Teenager.
Yeah, like
Okay.
just as soon as I had a dream about anything or anything, like I'm going to be this, oh, don't be so silly, 12, 13, 14, you know? As I got older, the more I pushed against it, the more I did things on purpose just because people were telling me no. And so the
Okay.
more you go down paths, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now I want you to sit in that 14-year-old brain. Just close your eyes for like half a second. 14-year-old brain. Now, in your body, I want you to just scan from the head to the feet and tell me what feeling this makes you feel inside your body, and see if there's a tension in your body anywhere when you're finding the feeling, not the story, but the feeling.
Well, the feeling that I used to feel when I used to think about it is it's like this, it's almost like a build up of tingles. It's like this, it's not anger, but your whole body just starts to like tingle and vibrate with like this, you're telling me no, like how do you know, like you just get this flood of tingles, not pins and needles, it's more like a blood boiling, it's like internal, and it's like this, like just, I can't even explain, it's like heat energy, but
Mm-hmm.
not pins and needles, and it just builds up and it's like rage, like
Do
you're
you
telling me.
know where it starts? Where does it start to build up from? Can you
it's,
feel it
it's
inside of you?
it's just the whole body, literally.
The
it's
whole
probably
body.
it's probably blood as opposed to muscles, because it's just like,
Right.
and it hasn't happened for a while, but it used to happen all the time when I, like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, wanted to do something and they would say,
Well, we need to give this feeling a name. We have to take back power by naming it. So, what are you gonna name your boiling, tingling feeling? You have to give it an emotion.
no pain, as in when they tell me no, and it's the pain of when I get when they say no, so no pain.
Okay. So I want you to sit with that now, that no pain, and at that age. And now I need you to find where its root is. The very, very cause. The first time you, not the story, the first time you felt the no pain. The very first time, because it's going to predate that. It's going to come from a different element.
So
How
what's come
old are you?
so what's coming to mind is, I don't know the time scale, but when I was, for example, 15, and there was a party in the year at the school, and there was no parents there or something, and then my mum was like, is their parent going to be there? And then I was like, no, and she was like, right, you're not going. And that feeling of they're there waiting for you to go there, you've all got dressed up, you'll be the kid whose parents are saying no.
So
And that,
it sounds like you're trying to call disappointment.
say again, you're on what?
It sounds like disappointment.
Yeah, it's like you want to go to this party and they're telling you no because there's no parents there, and that anger of like, why are you telling me no? And they can't really give a reason why, it's just control, and that they don't want you to go for their own reasons, and it's like, yeah, disappointment
Okay,
into.
so breathe into that because we're still not far back enough. I need you to find out the first time you were angry. Breathe into that. And I want you to focus on your solar plexus too for me, because that's where you're holding all of this in. And this is anger, by the way.
Okay, so what's come to mind is, I think I must have been about
And you
nine,
might
eight,
not even have like a, okay, go ahead.
9 years old. I was in my bedroom, and I remember barricading the door with all my furniture, so my dad couldn't get in because he I was naughty or something, and I was crying and shouting at him, and I used to hold onto the banisters as he used to drag me up the stairs to they get to your room, and I was holding to the banisters, and then I remember just blocking
Mm,
the door with all my furniture, and he pushed the door open, and all the drawers, all the stuff fell out, and it was always a battle between me and my dad because he wanted me to listen to him, and I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So it was always like love and war. When we got on, it was amazing, and then when I didn't listen to him, or because I didn't want to listen to him, it was war. And
okay. Now stay in there, and I want you to focus on that feeling of anger in that moment. And what I want you to do is I want you to not fill your head with the story. I want you, little Oliver at that age. Tell me when, just nod for me when you got him. Okay,
okay,
now I need you to ask little Oliver, what you can do as adult Oliver to help him let go of this anger. Ask him as a child, like you're speaking to a small child. You see a very frustrated child. You are now the adult, so you have the capacity and the love to soothe this child. Ask him what he needs to let go of the anger.
I'd say that the anger builds up when you battle against your dad, and the whole point of a father is to get you prepared for the real world. So even though I matured young and have my own beliefs and opinions very young, his job as a father until like say 18 is to bring you up in the best way possible, which is what he was doing. But because your father's strong and independent, you see that yourself and you want to become strong and independent, which means having an opinion and arguing back and saying why and not liking the word no. Most kids around just say yes. But because my father was strong, which means I'm going to be strong, I battled unnecessarily or for whatever reason. And I'd say to myself, just listen, learn, and take this difference in terms of independence. So when you're older, you can apply it because there's
And
no.
what is the face little Oliver has, or what is the energy little Oliver has as you're telling him this?
He's crying, he's upset because he loves his dad and he doesn't want to argue, but then he doesn't like being told what to do. He doesn't understand why he's being told no. It's almost like it's a punishment. How?
Well, maybe he feels like he doesn't have support. Ask him if you support him, would that help him?
As in me asking little Oliver if I
Yes.
support him, will it help him as a child?
Yes. Let him know that you're here for him and that you're there to give him comfort and to make him the strongest man possible.
So essentially, it's like I'm the figure of my father who is not telling me no and saying, tell me how you're going to achieve this dream, versus the father who's saying, no, don't be so silly. Like, he's never said, I can't do anything. Like, he's always believed I can do anything and always said I can do anything. It's more the fact that when he said no to something, I then asked why. I couldn't understand why he said no. Like, it's not the dream thing. He will support me with dreams and stuff and ideas, but it's more when he used to say no to something, like, can I go out? Can I do this? Can I have an Xbox? Can I play football? It was no. And then it was why? Why? Why can't I go play football? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? So it wasn't the dream restriction. It was the fact that I had an idea of to do something. He would then say no because he was the parent, and I couldn't end up going out or whatever I wanted to do. And so then it used to be like I used to get really angry and frustrated, not understanding why I couldn't then do it. And
Well,
then
ask little Oliver if he needs you to play with him then. We're not trying to get caught up in the story. We're trying to find the emotional root causations here so that these energies can move. And don't force it. You're just showing up for yourself. You're giving the support to the child that needed support. Not the adult lecture, but the support that the child needs in the moment.
if I say at that point I wouldn't have had anyone apart from the voice in my head. The voice in my head is me agreeing to myself. So the future me would be telling me, old me, don't fight it. Just understand and learn. It's how you go about it. So it's not why can't I? Why can't I? It's understanding why he said no. And then
Does this
like
make him more sad or does this make him calm?
I think
I
the
feel a lot of
aware
emotion coming up.
I think the awareness of him in that moment of don't battle and say why, just say okay, and then understand or try and find a compromise or say, okay, daddy, but if I can't go outside, am I allowed to play outside the front, for example, or can I play in the conservatory? And then it's like a compromise where I'm not getting exactly what I wanted, but I've got something that I'm okay with, like that will do. and then my father's happy because he's not shouting at me, and I'm not angry because he's not telling me no. So
And does
it's like,
little Oliver agree with this?
yes, little Oliver understands that he's the parent. Sometimes you just have to listen, and you can't have your own way, so you have to compromise where you're getting something of what you wanted, even though it might not be all of it. And your dad's happy the fact that you're listening to him. And because you've listened, next time he's going to have more leniency as opposed to just telling you no all the time because you've understood and respected his word. He's now going to be like, okay, you can play for 10 minutes or so. And now I've built like a relationship with him where it's give and take, where I can't expect just to go outside. I can have that 10 minutes play. And because he's allowed me, I
Yes.
can go in. And then I'm happy because he gave me 10 minutes. And he's happy the fact that we didn't have an argument and I didn't battle him and barricade my door.
Well, you can ask little Oliver now if he looks happy and he looks like he's soothed, you can ask him for a hug now. And then we're going to see what happens. See if he takes that hug and what happens if he does. So give him all your love, all your compassion. Show him that you're here to guide him and to give him companionship and to help him, and then try to hug him.
Essentially, I feel like my father hugging him. So imagine that when he says no and I battle, we don't hug, okay? And then if he allowed me to go out and have that play, I'd be really happy and I'd hug him and say thank you. It's almost like I am the version of my dad after I
Right.
gave him the 10 minutes. Whereas the actual dad there is, no, you can't go out. Why? Why can't
Right.
I? And then we argue. So it's almost like I'm the compromise of my dad telling me if this situation went like this would happen. So essentially it's I'll give you 10 minutes and I respect that, but I couldn't ask that because he just told me no and then reinforced that no. Whereas me telling the young Oliver is like, look, ask him if you can just have 5 minutes and then I'd hug him to say thank you. So the future me is essentially the other version of my dad hugging me because I got what I wanted, which was just to go outside to play. So it's almost like looking at my dad saying, okay, I understand your reasons. Looking at me saying, if it's all about compromise in life and you can't always get what you want.
So when you hugged him, did he accept that embrace and did he look happy?
Yeah, it was like almost how I would feel when I hugged my dad when we had an argument. It was like that
Okay.
battle and then the love and me like understanding and I didn't mean to upset you.
No, that's great. That is so perfect. So basically you went into your father figure, you dealt with your inner child. What we're doing here for the people at home, what you want to achieve here is finding, first of all, labeling a feeling you want to work through. Then finding when the last time you got triggered is. Then finding when the first time you got the trigger is, and working your way back as far into your youth as possible. And then if you have to tweak what the word is that you initially started with, which in this case it's anger, we go back and then we try to find that and soothe the inner child. But you can soothe the inner child in whichever respect that comes in. The child may need its mother, it may need its father, and you have to be there present and facilitate that role for that child. And when we do this, what we do essentially is we're healing the inner child, because there's voices and thoughts and feelings that have not been heard or understood or processed, and they sit there. And as you were going through your journey, I felt it, about 3 different shifts happen while you were under. You shifted 3 times easily. So you did good. You did good. Congratulate yourself, but that's hard work. That is hard work. And Oliver made it look really good, but I mean, really easy. But it's hard work to admit. It's hard work to look back, and this will work every single time you have a trigger. So anytime somebody pisses you off or take you out of your joy, you can immediately go, what the feeling is, when the last time is, and when's the first time, because you're gonna realize that all of the things that trigger you now, and you think it's the outward situation is really coming from within, and old pain just kind of resurfacing.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely.
So how do you feel like that went for you? Do you feel like that was a worthwhile exercise?
100%. Absolutely. And what's amazing is that the first part when you were doing this, the signal was really bad. You were really robotic. And so your energy was having an interference effect with like the 3G. I know this because when my energy is very like vibrant, fucking Wi-Fi doesn't work and it pisses me off. So now you're calm, it's really clear. And when you were like tuning in, it was like really, really bad signal. So yeah, that's just that's just quite amazing because I get all that stuff. But yeah, this the blockage thing. Um, yeah, so like I've always understood the importance of going back in time and forgiving people in the past, like the child thing. And as you said, I made it look easy. Most people, it is hard because they haven't even began.
Right.
I understood how important this was, but the fact you're saying there's still something I need to heal and let go of to get me to move forward. Um, Maybe it's like just when I tell my parents like, okay, I'm going to take over the show, don't say it in a way where you are, you know, they're going to say it in like a sarcastic way. Oh, that's good. Well, hopefully you make it, and then sort of punish them by asking more questions to then get what you call fake answers back. So then you go
Yeah,
back
seeking
another time.
outward validate. You're seeking validation from an external source instead of finding the value in yourself.
Yes, so then I'll go back and say again the talk show, and then I get the same response, like, and I know it's not really a genuine response, and then I'd go back another time, and hopefully that response would change, where I can see that they actually believe it for the first time, when I know deep down they're not going to believe my vision because it's just fucking crazy. So yeah, it's like I've always seeked that validation of them, seeing my dream, understanding my dream, and not thinking that I'm joking because I'm being deadly serious. But for the first time, which I'd never done, they can actually say, do you know what? I think you are going to get it. It's more like, don't be so silly. This is crazy. Like, it's a dream. But, and then now what they do is they're like, yeah, that's good. Well, good luck. Because they know that saying no is going to make me like be in their face more,
Triggered.
telling
Right.
me like I am going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a big star. Blah blah blah. So it's like that compromise of when they tell you no, you do more, you do it more, and you get the no again, and then like they've realized, okay, my dream is my dream. I can't expect them to understand it. So now
No.
it's like, okay, well, we won't say no. We won't say you're going to do it because that's giving them false hope. So we'll just be like, okay, that sounds good. Now, for me, the shift is within myself to understand that I'm on my own on this path. Only I can create it. I can't expect other people to see this dream and journey. I can't hate these people for not seeing what I see. I just have to love and embrace them and realize that they've done all they can for me and that I now have to manifest what I see, and I can't hate them, punish them. I've got to let go of, for example, the inner child of when they kept telling me no. And you said, I still am that person. Like, I'll say things to them and they'll say, don't be so stupid, crazy, can't you get a normal job? And I'd say it again and again and again. And this pattern has occurred since I was 7 years old, where I would say, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be an actor, I want to be a singer, stand up, I'm going to sell out arenas around the world. Oh, don't be so crazy. And then it, like, even to like, to like 2 years ago, I still say that. And they're like, when are you going to wake up? When are you going to live in the real world? And again, I go back and I say that same thing in hope that that response changes and that they will start to believe it. And it doesn't. And I had to accept the fact that they're never going to see what I see in my head. And I can't turn that, my passion, to anger towards them because their job is as a parent is to bring me up into the real world. It's not
Right.
up to them to see my vision and tell me I can or can't make it. That's up to me. So it's like rather than going back to them to get their approval, then I go and get the talk show. I just have to get the talk show and then say, see, I told you I was going to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly it. And I tell my students all the time, if you believe you can do something, you can. But if you don't believe you can't do something, you won't. It is just your belief system. When we're expecting having all of these external influences be on our bowl, be on our team, that's not the thing. I had a similar upbringing in the same sense where I'm an Aquarius, so I wanted to do this,
Me
that,
too,
and the
by the way.
third. This makes a lot of sense then.
When's your
And
birthday?
when I was January 31st,
I'm 28th.
uh, right there. And my mom thought there was something wrong with me. She's like, you'd go to the beach, you'd cross your legs, all the kids would play in the water, and you'd be there with your book. I had no idea what was wrong with you. She thought there was something wrong with me. And it wasn't until I would say this year, I've been working with her for about 5 years. My mom was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was growing up, so it was a very difficult upbringing for me. But she's like, you know what? She just looks at me and she goes, you tell me some crazy shit. She said it like that. You tell me some crazy shit, but I believe you now because every time you say it, it happens. You do it. So I have learned to keep myself, my future ideals in myself, because you know what? I don't need anybody else's energy influencing the thought pattern or the manifestation that I am attempting to create with their limited belief system, with their own personal fears. So I keep it inside myself until it's manifested, and I go, see, boom, there it is. I did it.
So yeah, so this is the crucial thing I'm taking away from this, is that I've always told my parents what I'm going to do, and then spent more time trying to convince them that I'm going to do it than actually doing it. And then recently, when I stopped telling them about the talk show, that I created the podcast, I've done 40 podcasts so far, and I'm not telling them anymore because now I'm on this journey. I can
Yeah,
see it manifesting to the point where I'm so excited to get there. I don't want to waste any more time trying to convince them how I'm going to be the next Jimmy Fallon, because they're never going to understand and they're never going to get the reaction I want, which is, I know you are. It's, as I said, fake, oh, that's good, rather than, what planet are you on? It's gone from that to that, which I suppose it's better than what planet are you on, but it's still
right.
like not what I want. So yeah, I've now got to focus on go. See, this is the thing you said about the blockage, right? I
Mhm.
love how when I think that I can't be changed, or it's just like, nah, you're wrong. But then I am, and I love it. And what I've got to come from this is that although the past isn't affecting me, it's more telling me to completely let go of the past and stop trying to get like the response from your parents that you want, that you subliminally say. You come out with things every now and then to see if that changes different, like to see if they react differently. And it's the same outcome, and that energy is now affecting me because it's not positive energy, and therefore it's negative energy, and it's affecting my energy. It's lowered that
It
frequency.
is.
So I basically, if I kept my mouth shut, my frequency would be going up like Bitcoin. But instead, I would say something on a walk or something to see their response. And even if it's not what I wanted, it's not negative, it's not the response I wanted. So my frequency goes down or simply stays the same, but doesn't go up. And that is pulling me back. So that's about the inner child thing, which is about the reaction, the approved from my father, for example, or my mother, which I'm not going to get. And so rather than keep going back, just focus on the path and then say, see, I told you, as opposed to what I'm gonna do, like you said, you tell your parents when it's happened, rather than here's what I'm gonna do, because then you leave yourself exposed to other energies to be like,
Yes.
no, you can't, devils, blah 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 blah. So yeah, that I've taken away a valuable thing from this, which I didn't see it in the same way. Like I didn't
Yeah.
see it in that way. It's almost like from this, I can't ever mention the talk show to them again because I've learnt the lesson, which is if I'm still trying to get that approval, like I did when I was say 15, it's gonna just it's again, it's
It
not
has to come from you and only you and your intuition and your higher self knowing that this is happening for you and it is happening for you. And when we talk about Apollo's the god of clarity. He knows everything. He's the god of prophecy, and he's telling you this is 100 million% possible for you. You just got to climb. But it's there. It is in your akasha. Okay? You just have to climb. You just got to show up. But it's there for you, friend. It's there for you.
okay. So what next? Like, do we end the call now? Anything else you want to speak about? Do you want to have a general conversation? Any more psychic stuff? Like, what should we speak about now? Let's make the most of this good energy.
I really feel like the path forward, and I feel like a lot of people kind of undermine this because I have a lot of like, I have TikTok, I have social media, and everybody thinks the things that I do have to do with occultism. But the path forward is not. It is healing. It is healing. Everything that I began doing that has allowed me to open my own business. I opened my business with $3 in my pocket, Oliver. Like literally $3 in my pocket, and I'm here strong 6 years later. You feel me? With every year having 140 plus increase percentage in our expansion. So it's kind of like when I started my journey, it was just like everybody, I lost all my friends. Nobody believed in me. Everybody thought I was crazy.
Me
And
too.
I've told
Me too.
everybody, my path is 150 countries. I know, like the way you're gonna go for the Jimmy Fallon thing. My path is to go to 150 countries and do all the healing and all of the things that I can while I'm there. That is my path, and I know that to be so. I am a broke ass person, but I know this to be so. And I'm just gonna say, I'm saying broke and not poor because broke is a limited circumstance and poor is a mental state. Understood? We can never confuse those two. This is a limited circumstance. So, and as I've been growing, I have been able to go to Brazil. I've traveled the country. I've been able to have all of these beautiful experiences, and I've never, and they've manifested for me. The money has manifested for me. It has come to me. It has happened for me. Why? Because I'm sitting on this path of healing. I go back into my past. I reconcile what I feel like has not been heard, what has been suppressed, what has been misunderstood. And it's not that I go back with the idea of changing, but I go back with the idea of listening. Because when we try to go heal ourselves and we go with the idea we're going to change, our body automatically becomes resistant because our ego doesn't want to change. That's not coming from higher self. Inspiration, divine energy does not say we need to stay the same. No, because life is change. And the only time we don't change is if we're dead. Okay. And we could be dead physically or dead in the water, stagnant. But we have to be able to heal those things. And we'll notice that once you start healing things, your mood changes. Your mood over an extended period of time becomes personality. And when your personality is vibrant, bright, and attractive, all of the frequencies envelop around you that are positive, and they things manifest on a much quicker scale. We want to believe that there's like a ritualistic order of like, okay, if I can see it, I can think it, it's going to manifest. But it's not enough, because you're only going to manifest what your body is holding. You're only going to be emanating as much power as you have within. So like when you're getting a cleansing, you're elevating your energy. And that's a good time to go, okay, now I can focus on the manifesting because I'm coming from a clear, balanced place. That is the only time we manifest, when we are in a clear, balanced place. So healing in all formats. There's so many modalities, but in all formats, any format that you can find that you feel like works for you, keep at it. Keep at it, keep at it, because then you're going to see so many wonderful opportunities that come in. That's really all I have about that.
I like to hold myself accountable and truly learn from lessons and not make the same mistake twice. So I'm going to say it on here right now. I will not bring up the talk show to my parents again until I've got it, and that may be 3-4 years. But I am not. I understand that what this lesson. I understand it because I was always going back for the approval before I did it, and I wasted so much fucking time getting that approval, and I realised it's not going to exist. And yeah, you could say that that was all part of the journey. I was meant to keep going back for this amount of time so I could get to this point. But yeah, I will say it here, and I'm not going to mention it again until I've done it. That's out there now. And if I do, I haven't truly understood and forgiven and healed myself, because I'm still trying to go back and get that childhood feeling of approval from my father, and then asking him why can't I do it? Why can't I go out? Why? It's been there ever since. So yeah, it's so true. Even though it's not like haven't healed or I've got anger, it's the how you explain that feeling in terms of the lesson, which is that approval, going back to say not being allowed outside, him not understanding my dream. It's the same pattern of that need for a want. So I absolutely get.
And I want to say that having anger is not a bad thing. Anger is the catalyst of change. Okay, people think, oh no, I have anger, so it must be bad. No, anger is the catalyst of change. It is the fire that moves you when it knows this part of me or this part of my existence cannot be any longer. I need a shift. I need movement forward. That's what anger is, the vehicle of change. And we all have suppressed feelings inside of us. Most of us aren't even aware of it. Some people like, okay, why do you have an attitude? Oh, that's just the way I am. But it's not just the way you are. There is something unresolved inside of you that makes you, quote unquote, the way you are. And when we label ourselves at any time, well, that's the way I am, you need to really ask yourself, what am I really saying by that? I'm excusing the shadow that wants to come out and express itself, and I'm resuppressing it by not acknowledging that it's there to begin with.
I've got a question for you, and I agree with everything you're saying. If somebody has a lot of healing they need to do, right, and often the older they are, the harder it is to get them to go within.
Yes.
Is it possible for somebody to heal by themselves the older they are, or do they need a mentor for a long period of time? For example, it could be like 2-3 months to keep going back, which takes time anyway to get them to go back, but you need to be there constantly mentoring them. Is it possible for somebody to simply do it by themselves, or do they need an external force like you and me, for example, to take them through their
That's a great
path?
question. So what happens at the age of 35 is that all of those pre-existing programs, from 0 to 6, we have that foundation. But when we hit 35, we only wind up using 5% of our brain to change anything in the future. So 95% of that is already a habitual belief system, and habits have been that the same repetitive thoughts, 70,000 thoughts a day that repeat over and over and over again after the age of 35. So we're kind of locked in place at 35. So it's harder to change after. However, most of my clients were much older than me, which is kind of, it's kind of funny because when I get clients, they're like, "You're a baby." I'm like, "That's okay."
Yeah. How old are you, by the way?
We don't talk about this kind of foolery. What are you talking about, Oliver?
Sorry.
We don't talk about that. I'm a lady. We don't, I'm as old as the sun. That's literally the age that I give everyone. But you can do it alone. However, anything, just like everything, it depends on how much commitment you have and how consistent you are. Okay. So people learn, they'll take a skill away from me, like Reiki. I'll teach them Reiki so that way they can go home and learn how to heal themselves. And if they are adamant in their healing within 30 days, Oliver, there's a huge shift within 30 days. Really, like monumental, life altering, earth shattering shift, 30 days by yourself if you are rigorous and consistent.
How about when you come across somebody who you know is damaged, but they don't know? And you know, if you work with them long enough, you could get them to the light, as you said, in 30 days. They will be shocked and grateful the fact that you persisted with them and forced that change when they literally were using Satan to fucking battle you, like exorcism stuff, where you're like, no! So if you get to that stage, they're going to be like thanking you, sending you flowers forever.
Right.
If somebody is that stage, can they get there themselves? Because
so the problem with that is we have to be a seeker, first of all.
right,
So
yeah.
someone has to already want to find this light. Someone already has to want to change themselves. Now, if somebody, I have had one person who I couldn't help in my 7 years of doing this, and it broke my heart. And sometimes you're going to come across that, but you can't force anyone. And that's what we have to be reminded of. They have to want to do it. They have to want to do it. Because if not, they're going to close themselves off and they're going to waste your time and they're going to waste their own time because nothing's going to shift. They'll just be closed off because the mouth might say, "Oh, yeah, sure, let's go through the motions." But going through the motions and this is not enough. You have to want to shift. You don't have to believe, because skeptics are welcome and I will help shift the skeptic in a heartbeat. But you have to want to shift.
So really, if somebody is being healed by somebody who's taken them through the healing process, and for example, they would have never got there without that person like you, are you healing that person for your own satisfaction of seeing that change if you don't feel a connection to that person, you even know who they are? Because once they're healed,
that's a great question.
Once they're healed, that's it. Like when I taught my friends all this enlightenment stuff, I was essentially looking back. I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for me because I enjoyed that process. And like they've relapsed now because I'm not there constantly mentoring them. Like they go back to their own ways. They got inspired, vision board, fucking journal, and they just go back to their shitty little lives. I realized now it was me seeing that transition because I did it to myself. So essentially, if you're going to change someone in 30 days and they'd never change without you, you said it's a waste of time, for example. But really, if we gain ourselves, we also learn more about ourselves and the process.
It's only a waste of time if they refuse to want to have the help. That's the only time it's a waste of time. So like I wouldn't bother teaching anyone. I wouldn't even open my door to anyone who would just be wasting my time. And what I mean by that is if somebody came in and they're like, "I'm into demons." "Oh, you do that? Can I just do that anyways?" I wouldn't waste my time because you're looking for something that's not there. You're looking for something that's not there. So I would just let it go. And as far as like for me, I feel like I'm a pollinator. And what I mean by that is it's not for me to find what your end game is. I'm here to just share with you what I have learned that has worked for me and shifted me. I have a condition called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It's short for POTS. And what that means is that my automatic nervous system doesn't function properly. My heart doesn't regulate, my digestive system doesn't regulate, my temperature doesn't regulate, And essentially, like while I'm sitting here, my heart is beating 30% faster than a normal heartbeat, and I am at a higher risk of instantaneously just dropping dead. And so I was not able to walk. I wasn't able to walk. I couldn't get Oliver 10 feet, 15 feet. I couldn't cook. I couldn't shower myself. I couldn't brush my own hair. I couldn't brush my own teeth. I have been on my healing path 5 years. Okay. I run my own business now. I walk now. I run now. I went on a pilgrimage to Mount Shasta in California and climbed 19,000 feet, even though all my doctors said that it was the worst idea possible, that I was just going to hurt myself. And yeah, I think in retrospect, it probably was pretty risky and kind of dumb, but the guides had me and I knew that I would be in safety. So it's very imperative that you do the self work. And yeah, people are going to have parts of where they have this like, they're getting high spiritually and then they kind of just, ego comes in and they crash and then they kind of come back up. And, that's part of the journey. That's the resistance in our life pulling and pushing us to see what we'll do with it. And I feel like when that happens, it makes us even more stronger as far as when we're pulling and shifting that resistance inside of us. So I don't think for me, it's that I'm here to have some kind of validation because you're doing so good in your life, but because it has helped me so much. I'm so passionate about how this has shifted me. I used to suffer greatly with depression and suicidal thoughts, and this has shifted me so great. Like I feel like this medicine is available for everyone, and it breaks my heart to see people, because I have friends who have committed suicide, and that has led me on my journey. And I was in the army 10 years, and I have had soldier friends also, and it breaks my heart. And I just want to give that medicine to the people and let them do with it what they will, but giving them a chance to expand and giving them the chance to find themselves and their worth. And I feel like that's why I'm here. I'm here to show people that you matter, that you're more than just this, whatever this is, whatever you think this is. Just a pollinator.
It's interesting because we're on very similar paths, but different paths. So you're on the path of healing,
yes,
kind of spiritually, right? Going back and like healing yourself spiritually, and then when you come out of your head, your surroundings are pretty much the same. Whereas what I had to do was when I went within myself and I healed myself, forgave people in my head, reached out to them, whatever, I then started the enlightenment process in physical terms, because I looked at my bedroom and all the stuff that was there, all the things in my drawer, all my clothes, they all had patterns based on the past, which I was essentially letting go of, because if I was healed in the first place, I wouldn't have got all this shit to fill that void. And so I had to let it all go. So what I want to do is I want to enlighten people, for example, going into their loft, clearing out all the shit. They hold on to things like just a memory from your nan, your dad, or whatever. Every single thing people keep has an emotional attachment. It could be a pen, a wallet, a belt. It's like, that's in your head. And if you need to hold on to that, there's an underlying issue, which is you are grieving onto something like a grandmother, and you're not facing the fact that she's not here. And so that book, for example, reminds you. So it's very interesting how you're doing the spiritual side, was I'm teaching people in terms of the physical side, and going into your wardrobe, keep the stuff you need, bin stuff you don't need, go into your drawers, order them. Don't leave shit on your bedroom floor, hang it up, make your bed in the morning, let the sunlight in, get up at the same time, don't look at the clock, eat healthy. It's interesting because
but the inspiration for that has to come. The inspiration to want to make those changes, to get rid of those books and get rid of all those things, has to come. It can be a band-aid when we're just going to go ahead and just throw everything away because we're going to find something else to fill that void if the underlying situation hasn't been addressed. Like you said, the letters from the grandmom or whatever. So in Reiki, when we're doing is that we're doing the underlying issues. What that happens is that it creates an overflow. That overflow, now that I have new inspiration, new energy, and new understanding, is going to make me want to come in my house and declutter everything, because now I have dealt with the underlying understanding of why I'm doing it, and not just taking the action that thinking that if I just take this action, my life will be better. We have tackled it from the root. So it's like, if we do it the opposite way, it's like dusting after we vacuum. So you vacuum the floor first, and then you dust everything at the top, and all the dust just falls back to the carpet. So we have to tackle always the underlying situation in order for the pattern to stop repeating, and that way we don't have those fluctuations up and down as much.
It's like if people come home from a shitty day at work, yeah, and their house is a mess, it's
Yep.
very hard to find like mental stability because everywhere you look,
Yes.
there's just shit everywhere. So
Exactly.
it's like the opposite to you. I understand that the underlying issue has to ultimately be addressed. Otherwise, you'll just, again, your house will be tidy. I'll leave and it will be shit everywhere. But by ordering your car, cleaning your car, you feel good about yourself. Your house is tidy, it's hoovered.
It
You
does.
feel good. You see clarity. And then
Yes.
you've got more
It
time to
gives you
go with
new
it.
energy. Yeah. And that's the same thing. If you're depressed or in a cycle, any movement forward is movement forward. But remember, it's a band-aid. So if I feel like shit today, I got out of bed, I put my makeup on, I did my hair, I feel good for the moment. But the underlying issue is still there. So it's not sufficient. This might get me to the point where the energy level is risen enough in me that it makes me want to do more active outward change, but the underlying situation is not there. And I'm going to keep repeating other things in my life until that underlying situation is not there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like having a flower bed and there's weeds and you only pull out, say, 6 weeds and there's 2 more. Well, those 2 more will make 4 new weeds and you're back to square one. You've got to dig out and go deep within those roots and like dig out that pollen that was there,
Yeah.
and then make sure there's no more pollen. Yes.
But everything is a path to healing. So whatever you find that's working for you, do it. And then when you see something new, try it, expand, try. I cannot say it enough. We're not open enough to enough experiences in life. Is just passing us by. We have to be open and allowing, and most importantly, surrendering to the experience. Because where we are in a state of surrender, we are in a state of lacking resistance, and that is when everything is in harmony. And
Cool.
my phone is going to die, Oliver.
I was about to say, I feel like it's a good point to end that there. Coincidentally, how your phone's going to die. I'm just going to press stop. Quickly plug anything, any websites or stuff right now before I stop.
Okay, so you guys can follow me on my TikTok. It is Positivity. My email is howwellnesscenter@gmail, or you can email me personally at apollosclaim1@gmail. Hold on, there's my phone. Or apollosclaim1@gmail. Check me out on howwellness.com, facebook.com howwellnesscenter, or facebook.com apollosclaimed1. Check out my Instagram, apollosclaimed1. And if you haven't seen me already on Stranded series, Stranded with Sam and Colby, Paranormal, Supernatural, it's on Snapchat and on YouTube, so you guys can go check me out there. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just going to press stop, okay?